Hey, I'm John Blansett, and this is my reflection on our capstone, Project Denny. Denny is a mobile app idea focused on helping people find local events and connecting to what is going on around you. And on this project, I naturally leaned more into my planning and coordination role, especially when I was voted most likely to succeed as POC. I'm just kidding, but no, actually, they just kind of threw that idea out there, and they were hoping that I would say yes. So, actually, if it would have driven me crazy to let someone else have that responsibility. So I pretty much relented and said I would reluctantly be the POC. So, I have contributed extensively on the roadmap, sponsor communications, and a lot of the traditional stuff a POC is responsible for. I also built an early working prototype that could store and manage data, and you could delete, create, update. And although I wish I had been a little more proactive in the beginning, I spent a whole weekend, I think in the first week or so, tooling around with the SQL version of this, and we never intended to use SQL, and I just took that upon myself, and that's actually my fault because I just assumed the architecture, and of course that was poor communication on my behalf. But from that point on, my main goal was simple. Give the team a solid base, build on everything that when it comes together. And so it actually feels like a real app and not a bunch of disconnected pieces. So as far as contributions go, like I just stated, I spent a lot of time building the first working version of the app, so you could actually see data being created. We could update it, we could store it, delete it, of course in a JSON format. And so I also designed the basic structure for how users, events, and food trucks would live inside the system. On top of that, I handled a large part of the planning side, especially from kind of the backside of Sprint 1 on, especially with Sprint Plan 2 meeting reports and keeping communication clear with our sponsor so that we pretty much stayed aligned with our vision, and of course updating him with all of our documentation as well. Working with the team has honestly been quite an experience. I've been in management for the past 15, 16 years. Recently, I just stepped back from responsibility with FedEx Freight as a frontline supervisor, which is a really good role, but it's really taught me how everyone just works differently. Some people move fast, especially on certain tasks, and others focus more on like the specific stuff, so they kind of go off on tangents, and especially when you're learning something new like Firebase, because we're all learning this. And so I learned from that wasted weekend that communication and direction was going to be paramount to us staying focused, staying on track, and keeping our morale high so that we could keep the ball rolling. Instead of getting stuck when things felt unclear, I tried to step up and stay organized and keep us moving. So right now, the project has a really strong foundation. We just had our third sponsor meeting, and we were able to make good progress over the week. I was very kind of disappointed that we had scheduled our meetings that way, but it just worked out like that because of vacations and people going places. But we were actually able to get quite a bit done over that week. It put a lot of pressure on us, and we all kind of just put the hammer down. And so we got the core structure, early features for adding events, and a clear direction for where the app is going. So parts are still being connected, but the base is there, and it's really solid. One of the biggest challenges was kind of juggling all the separate pieces together, but since we were all kind of learning the same concepts at the same time, I just made sure that we all focused on learning it from the documentation. And so actually it forced me to think how everything would eventually connect together in one system, especially since I was running the data, and I had to set up all the initial rules so that everything could connect to how the data was going to exchange in our system. But what I really learned from this project was that real software isn't just about coding, because the coding is a really big part of it. Don't get me wrong, but it's more about planning, the communication, especially when things kind of get down to the nitty gritty, and of course the teamwork, especially when you have to adapt and things don't go perfectly. So overall, I'm proud of the role I've played. I've stepped into kind of a leadership role when it was needed. I helped organize the direction of the project and contributed to building the core system. So I'd like to thank you for your time.